So I would defer you to the State Department for any individual case, but they are looking at individuals who are given the privilege of being on a visa in our country, and if they are acting, again, adversarial to our foreign policy interests, their visa can be revoked, and they should be aware of that. Sure. Go ahead. Yes. I'm calling on you.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Over the last few weeks, several countries have warned their citizens about travel to the U.S., and the Department of Commerce's own stats know that from a lot of countries, the number of visitors is falling. Does the White House have any message for people that might be reconsidering business or tourism travel to the U.S.?
Where did you see that report?
With the statistics coming from the Department of Commerce.
Said what? It's hard to hear you. Sorry.
That visitors from a lot of countries have fallen in the last 3 months.
I'd have to look at that report to comment on the merits of it. I think most people around the world recognize the United States of America is a great place to do business. It's a beautiful place to visit, and they should certainly come here because it's a much safer country than it was 4 years ago under the previous president. Libby, good to see you.
A question about this upcoming announcement from HHS to ban food dyes. During the first week of the administration, the FDA announced that it's pulling its plan to ban menthol cigarettes. So 2 questions for you. How do you square a ban on menthol cigarettes being pulled and then announcing this ban on food dyes? And then how does the president feel about this upcoming ban that RFK is going to announce?
Sure. Well, look, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the president nominated him because he trusts him to make this country healthy again. It's not just a slogan. It really is a movement that has broken ground across the country. There's millions of people who believe in RFK Jr., Secretary Kennedy, and what he's doing. I don't want to get ahead of HHS with this historic announcement later and the details of it, but obviously the Secretary feels that he has reason and evidence to announce the ban on artificial dyes later, and I'll let him speak to that this afternoon. Phil.
The president started the process of reclassifying more than 50,000 federal employees as Schedule F. We've already seen him march through a number of government agencies. I'm curious, should we expect mass firings, or is this a case-by-case approach, a scalpel or a sledgehammer?
Well, look, as you saw on Friday, the president put out a statement about it. The Office of Personnel Management reclassified workers. They're now called scheduled policy/career. And all the president is trying to do is ensure that federal workers are being held accountable for corrupt behavior. If they are engaging in corruption as a government worker, they should no longer have their job. I think that's pretty common sense. He also believes that bureaucrats should be acting in accordance to the will of the American public, who duly elected this president. Not just this president, but all future presidents. If you work for the government, you should be adhering to the will of the American public and advancing the administration's goals and interests. And if you are not doing that, then you should go find another job whose interests you align with. So as for specific firings, I would defer you to the specific agencies, but the president in this move and Office of Personnel Management, it will make it easier to get rid of rogue bureaucrats who are engaging in corruption.
And then another quick question about
Sure.
Google, real quick. A federal court ruled last Thursday that Google's dominance of online advertising and ad tech markets violated U.S. antitrust laws. I know the president has spoken to a number of folks in big tech, and Google's CEO was even at his inauguration. I'm curious, what is the president's reaction to that court ruling?
I'll have to ask him, and I'll get back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Some economic questions for you. Kevin Hassett has been a key economic advisor to the president in both of his terms. In 2022...
And he still is.
And he still is.
He was just in my office.
Absolutely. In 2022, he said that the independence of the Fed is super important. That's a direct quote. Is that something that the president subscribes to? Does he still believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve?
Well, look, I think the president has made his position on the Fed and on Powell quite clear. The president believes that they have been making moves and taking action in the name of politics rather in the name of what's right for the American economy. The president has the right to express his displeasure with the Fed, and he has the right to say he believes interest rates should be lower. He believes Americans should be able to borrow money cheaper than they currently are right now. And I also spoke to Kevin Hassett about the Fed as well, and he has called into question the Fed's independence and whether they are actually doing things, again, out of the best interest of the economy, or are they doing it for partisan reasons. The president wants to see interest rates lower. He has made that quite clear.
We've also seen, if I may, I'm sorry.